What's up, guys, and welcome to today's Rad Potential YouTube video. We are going to do something epic, and it's not like a actual functional thing. It kind of is. It's really not rotary related, but it is in a rotary car. Anyways, welcome. We are going to be working on the mouse today. I am prepping it to take it to a drift event this weekend. No, I'm not a drifting professional. On pavement, I would say if it was dirt, rallycross, anything like that, we got it. But new to the pavement stuff, I'm going to assume it's going to be kind of the same, a little bit more gripped up. Not that I haven't skidded my car around, on the streets and stuff, but has been a minute. So, what all do you need to go drifting in a first-gen Rx7? And I'm going to rephrase that by saying, what all do you need to do spirited driving in a first-gen Rx7? First, it has to run. I don't care what engine you have, but it has to run. Two, you need an awesome seat. If you don't have a seat and you're not connected to the car, don't expect to be able to drive the car worth crap. So, the stock seats in these cars are pretty terrible. Three, a good steering wheel position. I personally prefer the wheel super close to me, so that's why I've got the extended thing with this and the other and a flat wheel. But this is like clutch. Two, you gotta know your vitals. But the main thing that I need to do today, shifter's gotta be good set of tires, good suspension, etc. What I need to do today is I need to brace my handbrake. So you can see how much flex that has pulling on the tunnel. Now, you might ask, why does a non-drifty boy have a hydraulic handbrake in his car, and how did I install it? So, first things first, the reason I have a hydraulic handbrake, when I took this car and put a disc brake rear end in it, and even to this day right now, you still cannot find disc brake e-brake cables, i.e. they're different. From the handle back, they're different. So, the drum brake ones won't fit. You have to get the disc. I couldn't find the cable, so I needed a way to park my car. It's a daily driver. I mean, I drove this to school, drove it to Nashville, drove it to work every day in traffic. You name it, I was driving it. So, Finn. Okay. So, anyways, I bought this little eBay hydraulic handbrake that had a lock bar on it, and I used that as my parking brake, and it worked great. I only really had it pop out once and kind of roll away, but it wasn't too bad. Otherwise, it's worked pretty awesome. So, it's plumbed in line, which means that the brake line to the rear brakes comes up into the master cylinder in the cab and then goes back out to the rear brakes. So it doesn't quite give you the left foot braking feel that just a regular one would, because if you hit the left, you can't pull them both at the same time. You either get to hit the brakes or you get to pull the handbrake. So that's kind of it. But I need to brace it up. So I'm going to put this in here. Long story short, we're putting this in the garage. I'm going to pull the whole interior out, peel the carpet up, and make a brace, weld in a new bracket and everything for the hydraulic handbrake. You notice I prefer the downward handbrake. I do not like having a fence post in my dash to hit my hands on and stuff. It is a street car, not a drift car. So let's get to it. Alright, y'all, so how I mounted my handbrake, the first iteration. Basically, all these holes, these bolt holes, are where your center console mounts, so it's not the most structurally sound thing. As you can see, it wiggles and moves. However, if you remember, I wasn't using that handbrake as an actual like drifting handbrake. I literally use it as a parking brake. So I would leave this loose right here, so if you lift this up just barely, you can adjust this. It takes 2 hands. You can adjust the rod, and that basically sets your pressure. So if you have a bigger hill, you tighten it, smaller hill, you loosen it, and you're good to go. You can take this handle off and flip it so it does sit vertical, but I don't care enough. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pull this plate off, let the handbrake thing hang because the lines are still on, and then basically I'm gonna make 2 straps that go across this, and I'm gonna bolt them into the firewall, or into the trans tunnel, there and there. So I want the handbrake in the same spot, but I just need to reinforce it a little bit more than what it is. And I don't plan to drift this car all the time, but I'd rather not pull my handbrake and rip it off the floor. So let's see what we can dream up after we fold the carpet out of the way. Alright my dudes, so here's what we're going to do. I dreamt this up. I'm going to take some flat stock that I have, and I'm going to make an L bracket that comes off of this and goes down and runs flush on the firewall here. Bolt that into the tunnel, into the tunnel here. Bolt that to the tunnel. I'm going to do the same thing right here, except I'm going to weld it, and it's going to turn around the tunnel. Bolt it in there. Same thing. Probably not back there. We don't need one back there. And then on this side, we're going to do the same. Just little L brackets that go off and hold this plate to the tunnel down here. So that way when I'm pulling up on this, it still might flex a little bit, but it should keep it from ripping off the top. And the reason this one is here is because, you know, that piece being there, I'll do one mirroring it on the other side. So I do like that this mounts on these, like these little sheet metal brackets for the center console, because it's not like a permanent cut and weld solution into the car. I mean, I can weld shut a bolt hole. You know, I could weld it to the frame, but I'd like to, or weld it to the tunnel, but I'd like to be able to take it off forever in the future. I don't really know why I care that much about this car, because it does have like rust. I mean, it's just a beater Rx7, but I still want to kind of do it my way. So I just have this 3/4 inch flat stock, and basically I'm just going to make, you know, cut little sections, bend it, make little brackets, and then bolt it through the tunnel. And it might be a pain for me to bolt it from, like, through the tunnel from the bottom. So I have some, like, somewhat-ish large, like, big self-tapping screws, and I may just put those in there. We'll see if I decide to be that hacker-esque. Oh, excuse me. But that's my plan. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, and I'm ready to paint it. Alright, my dudes. So I got a new bracket made. You can see the little legs hanging off of it. So all those legs basically tie into the sides of the tunnel. That bracket will slide back under my handbrake, and then the handbrake bolts to the bracket. So that should stiffen that way up, and like I said, it's not a full-blown drifty boy car. We're not going to be yanking on this thing all the time, but I do want it to be pretty secure. So we'll see how this holds up, and I'm gonna get it installed, and we'll see how it looks with all the carpet and stuff back in. So I'm pretty happy with how this came out. Alrighty, folks, look at what we have here. So I got it all buttoned up. Carpet's just chilling on top of this. Ideally it doesn't fall. Y'all remember how much it flexed before? Look at that. So much it's pulling me forward in my seat. Not a single bit of movement out of that guy. So, pretty stoked with how this turned out. I can adjust the height up and down of the lever right there, and with one simple bolt, pull this pin, I can flip it to be vertical. But like I said, I personally prefer that, you know, when I'm driving, getting it, whatever. This is where the factory one is, right? So this is where it just feels good to pull that, and then you let go and it's out of the way. and you're good to go. So here's what's weird. If I push the brake pedal down, right, force on the brake pedal, this, when you pull it, pushes the brake pedal out. So, maybe not. You can see it in my knee, my right knee, maybe, I don't know. When I pull this lever, it pushes back on the brake pedal, and if I push down on the brake pedal, it pushes the lever down. So, just one of those interesting things. If you're going to hook up your e-brake, handbrake, whatever you want to call it, in line, do that. I suggest making sure you brace it up real nice, since we're going to be continuously yanking on this thing now. We need to not move. So, now that we're done with that, the car is pretty much ready. I have one little, need to put a new cap on my OMP lines. The OMP is actually still on the motor, it's just not hooked up to anything. The little lever or anything's not. I need to check my diff fluid and my trans fluid. The other thing, and maybe comment below if you've ever experienced this, but I have this like super cool vintage Racing Beat oil cap, right? You can see it right there. It's pretty trick. So, it's pretty trick, but watch this. It's not coming off. There's a set screw on the bottom of this somewhere that's supposed to lock this, and I need to pop the filler tube off the motor and see if I can get the set screw from the bottom and tighten it back down. I guess this rowdy bridge just rattled it loose, but we gotta fix that. If you notice, I did put my strut brace back on. Yes, that was hanging on the wall for a while. It belongs on this car. Fun fact, I bought the white rally car specifically so I could take the strut brace off of it. I did know that I could flip the white rally car and make some good money because it was blown up, but literally the only reason, the guy wouldn't sell me the strut brace and I wanted it, so I got it. But the mouse lives, the handbrake is ready to rip, and we're ready to go drifting. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Keep it red.